as a goth girl, and I'm only speaking for myself, there's some things that get said, especially in the DMs to me, that I need to talk to you about. Before I get into that, follow me on Instagram, which is down in the description, and subscribe to my OnlyFans, adults only. I love my OnlyFans fans. I have a decent following. I'm grateful for my following and the following I've had over the years. Okay? So there are just a lot of repetitive messages. And I've had this conversation quite a few times with guys especially. And some of them think that they're being polite, so don't be offended by what I have to say, because some people get really offended who do this. So a lot of guys where I've never talked to them before, they'll just say hi in a DM and think that's being polite. In my opinion, that's actually rude. I've never just messaged someone hi. Not that I remember. Who knows if I have. I mean, if it's my best friend or something that's different, I doubt I even do that. I'm just saying, you know, or just saying, how are you? I feel like people do that because maybe they feel like they would be comfortable just saying, hi, how are you, to someone in person. But I feel like most of the time, because it's in person, the conversation can easily transition into something else. But even in person, I've gotten creative, and I know it's intimidating to message somebody or approach somebody, introduce. I've done it myself, so, and I've had various different types of outcomes. Well, other messages that I get that I feel are inappropriate. I mean, I'm sure you can imagine a lot of inappropriate messages, a lot I can't really even talk about. I have nails. I've been probably playing with these for a while. How's my lipstick looking still? Good. And so a lot of the times guys will ask, how are you, right away. Or not, sorry, I already said that. And like I said, I've had conversations with guys, and some of them will say, yeah, they'll say that they get similar messages too, and they'll think it's a bot. I've had some friends say that if they get a lot of messages where people just say, hi, how are you, and they don't respond because they think they're a bot. But I've gotten a lot of those messages, and I usually don't respond. It really depends on where the messages are being sent to, though. I obviously respond to my OnlyFans fans, even if they say, hi, how are you? I like to be polite and still say, you know, because if they're supporting me and they're a real fan, I don't mind that. Even if one of my friends that I know really well just said, hi, how are you? I would answer. It's just the awkwardness of it being a stranger, because I feel like when someone does that to me and they just say, hi, how are you, with nothing else, and I don't know who they are, I just feel like they might as well just say, I demand you to entertain me now. Come up with something. And it's just, I mean, I'm adult, and I've been an adult for a while now, and it's just communication skills. It's just being creative. So I've gotten countless messages like that. It just, yeah. And then some people will just say, oh, well, they're just being polite. But I feel like people who think that's polite are people who do that. Because I've actually had over the years have had a lot of friends, and even good friends, who just seem to kind of always do that. So they probably, if they message me that a lot, but I already know them, like I've known them for years, but I could see them, a good possibility of them doing that to strangers. In some cases it's kind of small talk. Say I'm getting an iced tea somewhere at a cafe or something, and they, as you know, part of the order, they say, hi, how are you? I feel like those are kind of small talk to situations to have just things feel a little bit more comfortable. I just feel like there's certain appropriate situations for that, but not to dwell too much on that. But seriously, I just needed to say it on a YouTube video. Now I'm going to be getting a bunch of messages and comments, saying, hi, how are you? I'm peachy. I'm groovy. But do you see how we can still get creative with it? If I was to approach someone, and I'll give examples of what I would do, you know, say we'll just give a scenario where maybe I was friends with someone on social media. We were following each other somewhere on social media, and you know, we're liking each other's stuff, maybe commenting here and there. And then if I really wanted to have a deeper conversation, I would find a mutual interest. Say if it was a band, oh, I noticed you have that book and that picture on your coffee table. I love that band. And you know, the singer has such a great style of collage art too. I actually went to a museum where I saw this artifact, and blah 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 blah, you know, just, I don't know, I just kind of came up with that. But I feel like that if I'm wanting to get to know someone on a deeper level and attempt to have a conversation, it doesn't even have to be something really thought-provoking, like, oh, I wrote this poem for you, or a play. But I mean, I'd be putting the effort, you know. And I've been really awkward too, where I'll just say some really awkward things where some people are even so I've been on that side also. But still, I was still really creative. I was just weird. For example, I remember this one girl I wanted to do a photo shoot with, and we probably would have been good friends, and she's kind of weird too, but I was just acting really weird and silly, or that wasn't probably the best context to be with the first conversation, especially trying to hang out with someone. And we had plans to hang out, but we just ended up both mutually not contacting each other again. But I remember when I first contacted her and I was commenting on stuff, I'd say, oh, we should do a photo shoot, and I would like her pictures and she would like my stuff, and we kind of comment back and forth. And then I remember I was talking in third person to her, and I said something along the lines of, it'll be fun, she said. But I was saying she was me, and she was she commented back something like, okay, laugh out loud. And then I DM'd her and we were supposed to do a photo shoot, but I actually ended up going on a date instead. I was just kind of thinking, okay, she probably thinks I'm really weird. I'll see if she messages me, and if she messages me this weekend, then I won't go on the date. But I had a feeling that we weren't gonna hang out for some reason. But still, that was more creative than just going, hi, how are you? But I digress. But since I'm a witchy goth, I don't really talk about witchcraft too much publicly. I used to do a lot more occult videos, especially if you look at my older videos on YouTube. And when I would do that, I would just get a lot of people just demanding information. Tell me about this demon. How was your experience with this demon? What kind of offering? Just asking all these questions, just demanding information. Where a lot of the information I learned about, I either researched on my own, channeled it, asked the demon myself, practiced, just, yeah, I would say that isn't the best way to talk to a witchy goth. And then some people I've had practically demanding me to do spell work for them. Who are you? Or demanding a tarot reading. Oh, you do tarot? Read my cards. Tell me what the cards say. It's just, I just feel like that's another instance of being rude. And I should have more positive input on what one could say, or like, not really. I should have more positive input on messages that I have liked. There's one guy that really impressed me once in the DMs, and I would say, you know, I've been impressed and had fun conversations in DMs, but there was one guy in particular. I still have his messages. I was tempted to read them before making this video, but I thought, well, I'm not gonna say what he said. But he would we'll just say, I'll give an example. It was just one of those things where it was go with the flow and we just vibed. For example, he gave us nicknames that and each of us had spider in our nickname, but it was different. And it just so happens that spiders are my main spirit animal. So it was just kind of one of those things where I feel as though if you vibe with someone on just a spiritual level, it's just, you're gonna vibe with them. And I love this green. This is probably my favorite color green. I love bright green. It's spooky green. Oh, another thing is sometimes people will be really desperate online. Yeah, some people get really creepy really fast. Oh, sometimes if someone asks me questions or just says something, when I was really bored and I guess I was newer into the DM situation on social media and getting a lot of messages, I would just make up weird answers. So for example, say someone was just saying, hi, how are you? I'd say, oh, I'm from the netherworld, just to be kind of silly. And I think they either say laugh out loud and think it was funny, or they would just think, okay. But it's rare I'm in a mood like that to be weird, because I don't really have time for that right now. Oh, it's also not the best when someone just says, I like your tattoos. Okay, cool. I'm glad you like them. Because, I don't know, maybe if you didn't like them, I don't know how I would feel about them. Wow, I really care and value your opinion on my skin. If you didn't notice, these glasses actually don't have lenses. Oh, another thing is, say if I'm screening through my messages. So, for example, they just say hi or how are you, and I don't open the message, but I can see the message, sometimes I'll just delete the message. Depending on where I'm getting that message on social media, or I might not even see it. But sometimes I'll notice if I don't open the message, sometimes people will just keep saying hi and how are you multiple times a day or throughout the day. If someone keeps doing that and I'm not responding, I'll usually end up blocking them. Yeah, or maybe even if I open it, the message, just to see where, or if they sent anything else before that, then sometimes I'll just, you know, keep them on read, and then sometimes they'll just keep sending me a message saying hi, how are you, how are you, how are you. I mean, you get the point. It's just, I guess the best way to look at it is, I mean, if you really want to put that much effort into it, especially when approaching a stranger, it's just best to be creative and put effort with it, and just to think, okay, how is one setting themselves apart through this interaction? If you really want to talk to someone and get to know them, how are you going to make that connection special, memorable, fun, interactive? So I feel with this topic, there's only so much I could really say with it. But I do enjoy talking to people, don't get me wrong. It's just, it does get annoying a little bit. But I do respond to my OnlyFans messages. So if you're a fan with me if you're one of my fans on my OnlyFans, adults only, and you send me hi, how are you, I will respond to people because I do appreciate you. I love you. Bye.